Time is 6:30 p.m. The Louisville Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of August 19th, 2014 is called to order, and there is a quorum present. First item to address is the approval of the minutes of the August 5th, 2014 meeting. If there are no corrections, may I have a motion to approve?
Motion. I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Kristen.
Second.
Seconded by Sean. Those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3 is a public hearing for consent agenda. It's the final plat of Castle Hills Golfville Villas Phase 3, a residential subdivision containing 93 residential lots, 5 common area lots, and 4 non-residential lots. It's designated Estate Townhouse, ETH, and Single-Family Residential, R12. It is on 28.6 acres in Castle Hills, ETJ, at the southeast quadrant of Sir Lavelle Lane and Lady of the Lake Boulevard. Jay?
Good evening, Commissioners. This plat is located within Castle Hills and is for single-family residential. This land is currently vacant and used as a golf course. The plat does meet all city requirements, and staff recommends approval.
Questions? Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll open up the public hearing. If anybody wishes to speak on this subject, please come forward, sign in, and state your name. Having no one come forward, the public hearing is now closed. Commissioners, discussion? Motion?
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Brandon.
I'll second.
Seconded by Kristen. Those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item number 4 is a public hearing for plats, preliminary plat of Fireside Village Edition. It's a residential subdivision containing 35 residential lots, 4 HOA lots, and a drainage right-of-way. Zone Townhouse 2, TH2, on a 9.494 acre tract. It's located on the southeast corner of College Parkway and Summit Avenue with 5 requested variances. Jeff?
By the City Council on June 4th of 2012. They intend to build 35 residential detached units, which is allowed in the Townhouse 2 zoning. The community was voluntarily deed restricted to residents age 55 and older at the time of the zoning. The applicant plans to create a HOA to maintain public and private landscaping, and has requested that the variance have a gated community, which would include private streets. Except for the variances that we're going to name, all the lots and homes will conform to the requirements of the detached product for Townhouse 2 zoning. The variances, the first variance is to waive the alley requirement. Just looking at it, this is a small property, only 38 lots. It's not very deep. On the south side is existing creek with a floodplain that's being dedicated as a drainage right-of-way to the city for maintenance. And that's defined by the 100-year floodplain limits as they stand right now. They want to promote an open concept plan for this community. So they would like to have a front entry to help promote that. So staff is recommending approval of that variance. Variance B, patient's going to cover about the alternate screening for the neighborhood. Variance C is to allow the community to be gated with private streets maintained by the HOA. We will make sure the HOA documents are complete, work with the developer, make sure they address the maintenance concerns of the street and the other amenities for the HOA in the common areas. and we are recommending approval of that variance as well. Along with that, which is variance D, is to allow public utilities under private pavement. It is worded that in the ordinance that you have to have the public utilities under a public right-of-way. But this is a common variance when you have a private street. They are dedicating in lieu of right-of-way easements for maintenance. These will be maintained by the city, the sanitary sewer main, the water main, and the storm sewer. And we are recommending approval of that variance as well. Due to the configuration of the site, they need 2 points of access to the property. The variance they need for this is to reduce the street intersection spacing. It's required to be 350 feet to 120 feet between the proposed fireside lane and existing College Parkway and Summit Avenue intersection. The second point of access to the site will be from College Street. The primary access will be on Summit. The purpose of the only way you can enter the community will be just for emergency vehicles only from College Street. It will only serve as an exit for the residents and the visitors of the residents. So due to the configuration of the lot, we feel like this is a variance we can support. The traffic using this will be minimal. So we're comfortable with the spacing variance of the intersections.
Questions for Jay?
I had a question on the, with the water and sewer being under the pavement, is that correct?
No, the water main will still be on the parkway.
Okay.
It'll be outside the street pavement. It will be 6 feet from property line. It's where we normally put the water on one side of the street.
Okay.
The sewer main is always under the pavement, and even in our public neighborhoods and with public streets, it's 6 feet from curb, opposite from the water main.
Okay.
But that's our standard section.
Okay. And so, how would that work with the street being owned by, if you have to do maintenance to the sanitary sewer line, who pays for the street repair?
We would have to go to the HOA and work that out with them before we do the improvement.
Okay, and then are they the sidewalk? Who owns the sidewalk?
The sidewalk would be their maintenance as well,
Their maintenance, okay.
because that would be on the surface, and they would maintain the surface improvements.
Okay.
Yes.
Is a gated community eligible for this insurance that they have for water lines and sewer lines that I'm signed up for in the city of Louisville?
I'm not that familiar with it. I hate the answer.
Okay.
I really don't know.
And
Sorry.
tell me again about the 55 and older deed still stands? Is that?
Yes, that deed restriction has been filed at the county already. It is a requirement for the property as it stands right now. I'll let Paisha come talk about the screening variance.
Okay.
A couple of questions here real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
The alley waiver,
Yes.
no questions about, I'm still getting all the things, learning about Louisville's code and stuff, since
Sure.
I'm the new guy around, so if I'm asking stupid questions, I apologize, but the street is sufficiently wide enough to compensate for having no alley with parking on the street and things?
Right, we would allow on-street parking on both sides of the street.
And that's still wide enough for
It will be
emergency vehicles and?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. It'll leave, approximately, I think 12 feet. So you have a one lane. So even in theory, emergency vehicle can squeeze through. but we wouldn't restrict parking on the street.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
it'll have the normal 50-foot right-of-way, just like a public street, and the pavement width will be 33 feet back-to-back with this type of variance. It will have mountable curbs is what we typically
Right.
require.
Okay.
That configuration.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Too fast.
Picture.
Hi, good evening, Commissioners. I just wanted to provide a little bit of clarification with regard to what the fencing schematic is going to be like for this project. Our ordinance requires what we call a zoning wall right here along the eastern side of the property adjacent to the medical facility. And then it would also require thoroughfare walls, which is a masonry solid 6-foot wall, I believe. And what the applicant is proposing is to provide transparency in the community because it is so small and narrow. They would like to do the wrought iron fence with brick columns around the entirety of the property. And our staff report doesn't exactly say that as well as we'd like, so we're going to amend it a little bit before council, but we just wanted to give you the full information of what the fencing schematic is going to be. And that will look like this.
There'll still be stone caps, right?
What? I'm
There'll-
sorry.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. You,
That's what it looks like, so that you can
Yeah.
see through, it's transparent, you can see through it, and there'll be brick columns.
yeah.
So is it, the wrought iron is black?
I believe it is black. Yeah.
And will there be any landscaping along
There
the
will,
wall
if you
to
look right-
provide some buffer?
It's not the easiest to see, but there's, I guess, a 15-foot swath of open space on each of the sides behind the rear yard. So there will be a 4-foot open fence. It'll be a 4-foot tall wrought iron fence in the backyards. Then there'll be an open area of about 15 feet, and then they'll have another fence, the
Okay.
6-foot tall fence. So they'll be able to, the idea, and the applicant could probably speak better to this than I can. The idea, I believe, is to provide somewhere for the residents to walk.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Paisha.
All right, and the applicant's here to answer any questions you might have, or staff is also available. No, Jeff reminded me. They'll also have to, we'll have to amend the variance language to also include the private maintenance of a thoroughfare wall.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, this time we'll open up a public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak, please come forward, sign in, and state your name. All right, having no one come forward, the public hearing is now closed. Commissioners, questions, concerns, comments?
When we make the motion, we'll have to add the language on the maintenance of the private thoroughfare wall, is that? Okay.
Okay.
So
So
I'll
you-
make a motion to approve, adding the addendum that the thoroughfare wall will have to be private maintenance.
Okay, motion by Sean, seconded by Brandon. Those in favor signify aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5 is a public hearing for zoning. This was tabled at the last regular meeting. In order to discuss it, we need a motion to take it from the table.
Move to take from the table the motion from the
Okay,
previous meeting.
motion by Brandon to move it from the table. Second
I'll second.
by
that.
Kristen. Those in favor, aye.
Aye?
Motion carries. Public hearing number 5, public hearing zoning, consideration of a special use permit request for outside storage on 2 tracts totaling 10.436 acres, zone heavy industrial, HI, located at the southwest corner of Riverview Drive and Jubilee Lane, further identified as Riverview Industrial Park Edition, Lot 3, Block A, it's a 7.98 acres, and Lot 4, eastern portion, Block A, excuse me, a 2.56 acres, This request is being made by the Black Diamond Group Limited, the applicant. This is case number SUP 2014-0806. Pesha?
Okay, this exhibit, which you also have in your packet, shows what Box Modular, formerly Nortex, they currently conduct business at 3 different locations in the Riverview Industrial Park, and the idea is to consolidate those onto the one in yellow proposed 10-plus acre site. This location will serve as their United States headquarters and will allow them to do their leasing, service, and office functions all on the same property. It's zoned heavy industrial, and a special use permit is required due to the outside storage proposed in excess of 10% of the lot area. The SUP development plan proposes 2 buildings on the property. Each is just under 10,000 square feet. The one in the front, right here, would be used for the office functions, and the one in the rear would be used for the service and repair uses. The office building is actually going to be one of Box's modular units, but it'll be placed on a permanent foundation, and it'll be enhanced with stone veneer on all of the elevations so as to elevate the look. The service center will have 3 bays that will be constructed, and the primary exterior finish material will be metal. However, it will substantially be screened from Jubilee and Riverview by the office building. And just so you know, metal buildings are allowed in our heavy industrial zoning district. Roughly 50% of the site will be used for the storage of the modular units, and those will be placed on crushed gravel, with the drive aisles and fire lanes being paved as per our ordinance. The applicant's proposing to incorporate a landscape bermed area along the perimeter of the site. You can see it goes all along Jubilee, and then somewhat along Riverview and Stonewall Drives. They're significantly exceeding the required interior landscaping and the required landscape strip. They also have a variety of fencing proposed for the property. In the front, at the entrance of the property, it's mostly wrought iron with a small stone wall at the bottom of varying heights depending on where you are in the yellow and the green. And then around the rest of the perimeter of the property, it is primarily what they call the Simtech. It's a panel that's kind of engineered to look like it has, like it's made of stone. And so that they're proposing to use that material. Our ordinance calls for just an opaque screening wall. So that could be wood, and there's a lot of places that have a metal wall. So we feel that this is a significant upgrade to what would be allowed by just using the basic ordinance. In addition to the upgraded fencing material, just to go over the other highlights or what we call the extras that we're getting with the SUP that we wouldn't be able to ask for with just using basic zoning. The stone veneer on the office building, like I said, metal is allowed by our ordinance in heavy industrial. The interior landscaping, we're getting 12% interior landscaping as opposed to the required 8%, and that's in their interior parking areas. Perimeter landscaping, they're doing a 25-foot buffer along these areas like I showed you, instead of just a 10-foot, which is required by ordinance, so that's pretty significant. And then the screening with the wrought iron as opposed to, and Simtech as opposed to another opaque fencing material. And if you've seen the Riverview Industrial Park, there's also a lot of chain link fencing with barbed wire at the top. So we feel like this is a definite improvement, and we are recommending that you recommend approval. We've got the applicant and their staff here to answer any questions you might have.
Do we have any pictures or elevations of the proposed fencing?
We do. Oh, of the proposed fences?
Yeah.
Yes. So this is color coded on the top. You can see the yellow one is kind of what they were doing around the little cul-de-sac in the entry. And that's going to be mostly the kind of the stone wall with a little bit of wrought iron at the top. And then the green is also close to the entrance of the property. And then the pink and the blue are around kind of the rest of the property where the storage is, and those will be opaque.
And again, the wrought iron is black. Black? Okay.
Black.
All right, thank you, Paisha. This time we'll open up public hearing. Anyone that wishes to speak, please come forward, sign in, and state your name. Having no one come forward, the public hearing is now closed. Discussion, comments, commissioners?
No.
Motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Brandon,
Second?
seconded by Sean. Those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6 is adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Sean, seconded by Kristen. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.